Welcome, everyone. I am Chris Gore from Film Threat. I'm excited to talk to you on a Wednesday afternoon. It is Hollywood on the Rocks today. It may not be an afternoon where you are. It could be later in the evening. You know, people watch us from all over the world. Lots to discuss today. The big thing we're going to talk about is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And I will be joined by Alan Ng and later in the show by Dante James to discuss the movie. It opens tomorrow. We're going to kick it off with a non-spoiler discussion. We've got other movies to talk about, and we're going to talk to you. It's my favorite. I love hanging out with you. So we'll be talking to you in the chat. We're going to see who's in the chat. Glanuccio, our intrepid producer, is eating something. I don't know what he's doing. He's eating something behind the scenes. What is he eating? I think it's popcorn. Well, get some of your own popcorn and get ready for the show. You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it. Let's get right to it. Let's kick it off. Hollywood on the Rocks.
Oh, hey.
Alan Ng is here. What Alan, how's it going, man?
Good. I just found that there's a YouTube short of me talking about porn.
That's great. I'm going to send it to your family.
Yeah, they'll love it. my wife especially.
We do have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Before we get deep into it, I want to wait until Dante James gets here to discuss the film with us. You and I and Dante actually saw Black Panther Wakanda Forever at the AMC Burbank 16, which was a lot of fun. You don't normally get up there.
Nope. No, I mean, I need to get up there on one of those Thursday nights where the stars show up.
It's fun.
I know it is fun.
It's fun to hang out. What I thought was really interesting, you showed up a little later. We were like, let's meet up, and you showed up later, and you ate the entire rest of the spicy tuna stack that I had ordered.
Yeah, I was hungry. I thought you gave me the rest of it.
I did. I didn't care.
So why is this an issue?
You were like, demolish it.
I was hungry. I was hungry.
Well,
and you know, if you saw my pictures of my food at the AFI Fest, spicy tuna poke is a far. It was definitely an upgrade from the $7 tiny hot dog I bought.
Oh my God, it's not that much more than that hot dog, which was pretty bad.
Yeah, Hollywood Highland, you cannot get a quick bite to eat there. Everything is counter service, or it's a $7 movie theater hot dog.
Right. All right. Well, let's share screen. I want to show people what's going on before we actually get into it today. Film Threat. We have reviews running from AFI Fest right now. This is a film, it's Christmas biographical documentary about Robert Downey Sr. And Robert Downey Jr. Was Robert Downey Jr. at the screening that you were at?
He was at the screening, or that was Eric Weber. I couldn't tell.
Right.
No, but
exactly.
He was there. Yeah.
But we do have reviews from AFI Fest on the website. Go to our front page, kind of scroll through, or just click on and go to the reviews section. That's what I usually do when I go to filmthreat.com. I just go to the reviews section. But that's one that I'm really interested in seeing, because I just want to see what his relationship was like with his father. You know, look, we've got a lot of AFI reviews. This is awesome.
And I think they're not all, but I believe that's coming out on Netflix.
Yes, it will be on Netflix. And look, Terrifier 2. We're rerunning the review on our homepage. That's awesome. Lot to talk about. Let's see who's in the chat before we kick things off. We've got over 450 people watching us live right now. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button. Actually, if you're not new to the channel, just everyone hit the like button right now. We'll have almost 500 likes, but please subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed. We really appreciate that. Slap that button. Oh, wow.
Yeah, we are 140 away from 57,000.
Nice. Hopefully we'll get, I love Heinz 57. That is one of my favorite steak sauces. It would mean a lot to me if we hit 57,000 today. But also become a member to the channel. You get exclusive content. Alan and I were recently at the Asian Cinema and Television Awards, and that was a lot of fun. We've got pictures and video of us from there. And also you'll get like exclusive videos. You get access to our Discord, and then you'll be first in line for any giveaways that we do on the channel. We offer them to our members first. And plus, just by watching the show, you get little moments like this. Finish him. Oh, my jeans. Yes, I slipped and fell at a video store. It was years ago, and it's now preserved on YouTube. Let's see who's in the chat. We have a very active. Oh, we already have some super chats here. Let's get to those. Ghost Rider for 5 says Disney/Marvel was warned not to go this MCU route. This was not the original plan for Wakanda Forever. This is the result of one man's bruised ego. Sorry to say, I agree with you. We'll get into it. And when you hear about what Wakanda Forever is about, because we're going to talk about at the very least the first half of the movie. And there's a spoiler within the first minute of the film. And when I tell you what it is, you're going to be angry because I'm angry about it. Guns and Roses. That's that way. Yeah. Does anybody know? But it's we're going to get into it. I want to wait.
Yeah. We'll wait.
Because we walked out of the movie and I think all of us were kind of shell shocked. Like I looked over at you a couple times during the film, like, what is going on with this movie?
It wasn't what I wanted in a Marvel movie. I'll say that.
Right. Guns N' Roses has become a YouTube member. We appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you for that. Masquerado says, "Yo, Chris, I sent you a box. Thanks. Thanks for filling it with loot. Switchblade Sisters is one of my favorite exploitation films. So thanks for dropping in the Arrow Blu-ray and stickers, film threat, glass, and book." Yes. Thank you, Masquerado. I mailed out a bunch of packages last weekend. Just so you know, if you send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to Film Threat 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California 90036, send me an envelope, throw some postage on it. I will fill it with free stuff. I'll send you stickers. I will send you, we have Film Threat keychains. I have some pint glasses, Film Threat pint glasses left over from our awards event, Award This. And the bigger the envelope or the bigger the box, the more stuff I'll throw in it. Sort of like what I have lying around. I'm just going to send it to you. Okay. But also, please support our work and go to shop.filmthreat.com. See, I thought Alan was looking for the banner.
Oh, no, I wasn't.
Alan was looking for the banner, but he was doing something else.
Yeah.
So there's the address for Film Threat right there. But if you go to shop.filmthreat.com, check it out. You can get this. This is a t-shirt. I didn't know how this t-shirt would go over. It says Film Threatist AF. Film Threatist AF. I don't know. I would just like run into like dudes around where I live wearing t-shirts. These are men that had like those old timey mustaches and a shirt that says Feminist AF. And I was like, I don't know who you're trying to impress, but how about this? Film Threatist AF. You can be a film threatist. It's kind of mocking that shirt. To be honest, I'm kind of mocking that shirt, but also Film Threat t-shirts as usual. This is our innovation. Film Threat t-shirts cure nudity on contact. Tired of being topless? Get a Film Threat t-shirt. Alan's wearing one right now.
Yes. Back to the Dune, Film Threat Dune shirt.
The Film Threat Dune shirt. So
yeah,
I'm glad that that package got, because I always worry because I've mailed out those glasses before and they break. So there you go. Starting from the top, Fur to the Future. This is going to be hilarious. Fur to the Future is a member. Thank you for that. Hey, Chris Shucksy, I sent you a package. Thank you for your note. Hopefully you like what's in the package. I can send more packages. Thank you for that. Shucksy goes on to say, thanks for the free stuff. I got it Monday and tagged you on Instagram. I love the Celebrities Poop book. Well,
oh yeah, I did see that on Instagram, by the way.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that. I'll look for it. But yeah, Celebrities Poop is like a parody book that I did that is it's a parody of Everyone Poops. It even has its own theme song.
Celebrities poop, celebrities poop. Did you know that all celebrities poop? All celebrities eat, so all celebrities poop. Some make a big poop, and some make a small poop. Some wear a diaper when they make their doo-doo. All celebrities poop, yeah, all celebrities poop.
That's an original song that accompanies the book. And I've got a little stack lying around. Not that many left. So send me a self-addressed stamped envelope. We'll get you some free stuff. I love to give away stuff for free. Horror Punk says, hail Chris, Allen, and Glanuccio. Horror Punk, always love talking to you on Discord. All your posts there are great. Ambusher, are you guys pulling a Gary? Wait, what's pulling a Gary?
Oh, starting late.
Starting late? We were like 1 or 2 minutes late.
Yeah, we're 3 minutes late.
3 minutes late. Okay.
Yeah.
We're generally not more than 5 minutes late ever. It really is like, sort of like our pre-show talk down and whatnot. But yeah, we're yeah. And it's look, someone is pointing out, Patrick Lemire says, this is Chris's third stream today. Midnight's Edge, Nerdrotic, and now Film Threat. And yesterday I did Tuesday night's main event. I keep telling, like, look, unless it's a show I do on the regular, like Nerdrotic Nooner or Midnight's Edge in the morning, I'm just trying to not do other live streams. Seriously.
Well, I'll be tailing off the live stream today, ending the string, so to speak.
Yeah. Let's see. Special Agent Bill Maxwell. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's Namore. Oh, Namore. You want to get? This is Here, I'll show you something for a sec. This is me. This is a picture of me as Namor in a comedy show called Comic Book Live, which I performed at IO West back in like 2011, 2012. And I had a full Namor costume I made out of duct tape. And then I used a Sharpie to draw on the green scales. It's a screen accurate Namor costume, or at least how Namor looked in the cartoon from the 60s. So I'll show you more pictures later. We have over 700 people watching us live. Please slap that like button. We're going to get into it in a minute. I want to get through these chats and super chats really quick, and then we'll go. Jeffrey Shaw, Chris, how formulaic and predictable is Black Panther Won't Go Ever for $6.90? I see what you did there, Jeff Shaw. I would say that it's not formulaic, that it is, but it is predictable. And by not formulaic, they made a critical, huge mistake in the opening minutes of the movie. We're going to talk about it in just a few minutes. Mexican Iron Man is here. Mike, thank you for 10. I am sensing that your review will mean that I should not get excited about Wakanda, and thus I should not show up with my green booty shorts and my green broccoli nose ring this weekend. Lol. I would not dress like that. I'm certainly not going to dress like that anymore. Solomon Thornton, the film went full Eternals on us. Rule number 1 of filmmaking, never go full Eternals. Nick Lang, was Wakanda a full house? Just to be clear, this was a critic screening that was literally, and look, the least important critics. It's what they call all media. When they say all media, it's just like, yeah, whatever, just show up. So
yeah.
So
I think it was 80 to 90% full. I would say, there certainly were seats left, but for the most part. But to your point, the other screening was for people who are prone to really like this stuff. And
right, the world premiere were all the people that get invited to those things. Alan and I don't really get invited to those things. So what are you going to do? I will say this. It was a very tepid reaction to the film. Mm-hmm. Very tepid. Toxic Waltz N8 says, so last week I watched a bit of the Nooner, and Chris's avatar was presumably his zombie from Night of the Living Dead 90s. Now I don't swing this way, but was young Chris a total piece? I can't answer that. But I don't know. I looked like I was about 19 until I was like 30. I looked like a gangly, skinny kid.
Yeah.
So,
Well, when the film threat documentary comes out, you'll get a good look at what you look like in the 80s and 90s.
Patrick Tremblay became a member. Thank you for that, Patrick. Get access to our Discord. If you scroll down, there's a direct link to join our Discord. I'll talk to you there. Alan, bring in the ing, says Red Terror 1978. Brock Samsonite literally lost $15 off the stock value last night of Disney. Yes, I heard it did not go well. Brock Samsonite also goes on to say Disney stock tanked last night at the earnings call. It's now in the $80 range.
Wow.
Yeah.
A year ago is 130.
Wiesnaw says Chris looks like he'd be part of a ska band for sure. So I'll take it. Someone in the chat says this cannot be any worse than Captain Marvel. I can assure you, if you list what are the worst Marvel movies, Eternals probably people would put in that list. I would say Captain Marvel is also on the list of worst. Add Wakanda Forever to the list. We're going to talk about it in just a few more chat questions here. Zavin says, how many tax breaks can Disney claim from phase 4 before the jig is up? I don't know. They're learning a tough lesson that they are harming the brand. At this stage, Disney or Marvel is harming the Marvel brand where they could put out almost anything. And because it was Marvel, people are all over it. Those days are over. Patrick Lemire says Wakanda Forever cost $250 million to make. It needs to gross close to $1 billion to make any money. I have trouble seeing that happen. That's like Maverick territory. Good luck.
Yeah, it's not going to make it. Not even close.
Beaver House. And sadly, I'm hearing the Willow reboot is even worse. It's bad. What a terrible time in Hollywood. Agree. So is there a woman king? Yes. We'll get into it. Suspicious Dog says the only good MCU phase 4 movie is Spider-Man. Yep. No Way Home. Yep. That was it. Shelby AC. We're going to end with this one. Haha. I love the part at no time did your rambling, incoherent answer even come close to a point. Everyone in this room is now stupider for having listened to it. Oh, that's great. Yes. I love that clip. That clip is great. That was Glanuccio on the thumbnail there. Way ahead of the game on this. So, all right, everyone, settle in with your questions. Alan and I are going to start now in 10 minutes. We're going to be joined by our friend Dante James, who's a writer for Film Threat. He is writing the review of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which will be on the website at filmthreat.com. You should be visiting the website. Daily. But he's going to join us, which is going to be a lot of fun. Before we do that, Alan, anything that you want to say before we get things started?
I love how you just throw this. Well, I will be on the Chrissy Mayer podcast at 6:00 tonight, 6:00 Pacific. So
okay,
so you just need me to stall so you can find the clip so you can play it.
I needed you to stall so I could find the clip. But we just had to get that. We had to get that out of the way so that nothing else is going to interrupt our doing the review. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So.
All right.
Wait, what do you do? What?
It's showtime.
Let's get going. We need to talk about this. Okay. I am at least at the beginning will be non-spoiler. Let's just say that. But we have seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever. This is the final film of Marvel's so-called Phase 4, which has been somewhat disappointing to most people, with the exception of Spider-Man No Way Home, which was not made necessarily by Disney Marvel. Yes, they had involvement with Sony. This ends Phase 4. And what have we seen? Let's back up and take stock of Phase 4 for a moment. we have seen some of our favorite characters get sidelined. We have seen the introduction to a lot of new Marvel characters with less than stellar results. And the original Black Panther, though many would argue it was overpraised, and I actually agree with that. I think it was far overpraised as a film. I don't know that it necessarily should have been nominated for Best Picture, but it was a remarkable achievement, mainly due to a couple of things. One, Chadwick Boseman's performance as T'Challa / the Black Panther. Amazing. He brought a gravitas, a believability, a humanity. He was regal, and he filled that role. He defined that role. Additionally, the world building, this Afrofuturism of Wakanda, the world. And in the original Black Panther movie, Wakanda is not like a science fiction type of vision that we've ever necessarily seen. It was incredibly original. So here we are now with Black Panther Wakanda Forever being made after the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman. Now, how do the filmmakers choose to handle the death of Chadwick Boseman? And just to be clear, many actors have either through reasons of creative differences or death, actors have been recast. Thunderbolt Ross will now be played by Harrison Ford. Okay. We've got Terrence Howard, who was originally Rhodey in Iron Man, was replaced by Don Cheadle over some behind-the-scenes differences. The characters endure in spite of behind-the-scenes, so-called whatever happened, shenanigans, whatever you want to call it, and or the passing of an actor. Now, I would argue that the decision to kill the character of Black Panther in Wakanda Forever will go down as one of the worst decisions that Marvel has ever made. Ever. Look, many actors have played Batman. Many actors have played James Bond. Okay? Many actors have played Superman. And Chadwick Boseman is not T'Challa. Chadwick Boseman is not Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman is an actor who played a character that he defined. And what is really distressing to me is thinking about children who are a fan of this character, to walk into the movie theater, and in the opening scene of the movie, and Alan, please add to this. We were sitting, in the same row while we were watching the movie. The opening of this movie is the death of the character, not in an act of heroism, not in trying to save Wakanda or trying to save someone or doing something amazing that Black Panther would have done. We're simply told in a line of dialogue that he's suffering from some mystery illness. This is all in dialogue. You see Shuri taking molecules on some weird contraption it looks like molecules.
It's like a molecular 3D printer, basically.
A molecular 3D printer or whatever. She's playing with it. And we're told that the king, T'Challa, is dead. Why would you do this? Why would you kill off one of the most popular male characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And arguably, I would say that Black Panther was actually better in Civil War than his own movie, where he was kind of sidelined by, there were a lot of side characters, and those side characters, really interesting, added a lot to the world building of Wakanda. Chadwick Boseman, still the star of Black Panther. Why would you do this? Now, I've argued that I believe it takes 2 movies to make a franchise, okay? If you have 2 hit movies in a row, the original and the sequel, you've got a franchise. Let me throw some examples. Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back. Once The Empire Strikes Back was a great movie, that we're seeing Star Wars forever now, right? And when you look at if The Empire Strikes Back was not a good film, was not widely accepted by audiences, we wouldn't be talking about a Star Wars franchise. Alien and Aliens, okay? Terminator and Terminator 2. Once you've got 2 films, that locks it in. Now, the future Alien movies didn't hold up, but we're still talking about the Alien franchise, right? Or the Alien franchise and the Terminator franchise. I would say this are similar in that sense, where the third, fourth, fifth films just didn't. You keep going, they were not able to capture the magic of the first 2. But you've got 2 solid movies. You've got a franchise. This decision is incredibly short-sighted. I think it's going to cost them money. I think that they have inadvertently killed the franchise. You could have recast. Like, there's no shortage of great black male actors in Hollywood. There's a ton of them, that could have stepped into the role. They would not have been Chadwick Boseman. There would have been sort of you got to get used to it. It's a different take. It's fine. But tell a Black Panther story. This idea to focus on all the for the most part, female characters in the movie, they're not strong enough. Letitia Wright, with all due respect, she's a great side character as Shuri for 10, 15 minutes in a movie. She's likable, right? Can't carry a film.
Yeah, she's not at the point where she could carry a Marvel movie. As good as she is as Shuri, her as an actress, she's just not there maturity wise, and it suffers. And let me just say this: my problem with Wakanda Forever is that this movie was made, the story was told because Chadwick Boseman died, not T'Challa, not the character of Black Panther, but the actor. And this whole movie is about the actor. And I think one of the biggest problems I have is, he passed away 2 years ago. And as the movie is talking about his death, you don't really see him. And because there's a 2-year gap in my mind, it's hard to really connect what's going on in the story with the actor. And the actor just seems to be only showing up. Here's the spoiler. The actor shows up in basically flashback clips. And so I'm not getting the connection with Chadwick that I think the filmmakers wanted us to make that connection with. And so this film is, again, the only reason this film exists is because Chadwick Boseman died. And that's the story that's being told. It's because they have to address the fact that the main actor died. And I'll say this about box office. It's not going to perform the way Disney wants it to perform. And I'll tell you the biggest reason why. I'm glad I saw it, and I have no compelling reason to go see it again. This movie has no replay value. You're going to watch it, you're going to feel sad, but that's not motivation enough to say, hey, I need to see this again. I saw Black Panther, the original, 4 times in the theaters because of the feelings it left me with, the feelings of pride and the superhero saving the world type ending. That's not here in this film. And that's, you need to have some kind of emotional impact in order to get people to want to return to the theater. And that's the problem this movie is going to have at the box office.
Not just that, let's talk about the running time. Okay, the running time of the movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I've said this before, and I've gotten in debates and arguments with people. If you're going to make a movie that's north of 2 hours, you better earn it. You better earn that time. It is plodding. And I would say even the first half of the movie is so dark in terms of the way it's lit. There's a lot of scenes that happen at night, a lot of scenes that happen underwater in dark spaces. You're kind of squinting to go, what the hell is even happening? This movie doesn't even feel like it was made by Ryan Coogler, who is a very competent and talented filmmaker. It also feels very corporate in terms of its it just feels like, did it feel like it was meddled with, like he decided, well, I'm just going to kill the character because no one can fulfill that role. And I think that decision alone in the first minutes of the movie is like, this is how you're opening your movie. And of course you've seen the images from the funeral and Chadwick Boseman's image up on some, a mural, right? And
well, even that was handled wrong.
Yes.
I mean, okay, so we're talking about the first 10 minutes of the movie. So I feel okay to spoil it, but there is the funeral. and I'm pretty sure it's a cultural thing. But as the processional goes down the street, everyone along the side of the road, they're celebrating. I mean, this is a full-on party. This is a happy, momentous occasion. And it just seemed wrong. It just seemed off when your main hero, your king, is dead. We'll call it culture, but from my perspective, not knowing the culture, it just felt off, to have everyone celebrating like that. And then when the Marvel thing shows up and it's all Chadwick, it's dead silent, and I'm like, this is just I'm being thrown off emotionally here, and I can't reconcile what I'm supposed to be feeling with what I'm seeing on the screen, and I just felt like that first 10 minutes was just handled so badly.
It's handled badly. It was you could hear a pin drop in the theater, and I don't mean because people were tense. They were kind of confused as to, why are you doing this,
or how am I supposed to feel? What are you trying to make me feel at this moment?
And the thing is this, because it's horrifying to think the decision to kill off the character. Okay, they made that decision, but they made that happen off screen. You don't see a final moment, even if it's wordless, even if it's T'Challa in some infirmary, like sitting there, and he's like on his deathbed, and he just has a look. He just gives a final look to Shuri or one of the other characters. It would have been emotional.
I think the point there was that Shuri was so obsessed with saving his life that he missed his death. Which, okay, that's a narrative choice. I'm not sure that's the right narrative choice at that point.
Right. Okay, let's joining us on the Film Threat livecast is Dante James. He's joining us here. He was at the screening with us. Hey, Dante.
How's it going, guys?
What's going on?
Well, hopefully my mic levels are okay this time, because last time I know I was kind of blasting.
I think you're a little bit loud.
A little loud. Turn down the gain a bit. I think I have the same microphone. Just turn down the gain a little bit.
Good enough? Good.
That's good. That works.
Right.
We were just talking about basically the first 10 minutes of the movie and how
up to the funeral, basically
off screen, we're told that T'Challa dies, and I think it's a terrible decision. I think it basically kills any chance that this will be a franchise. Yes, it's going to be a Disney Plus show, but what are your overall thoughts? And we're going to get into it and talk to the chat in a minute as well.
Yeah, so it's funny. I had certain thoughts about the film after we watched the film. Like, I came out and I felt a certain way, and I think after like being able to sit on it for a few days, I've been able to kind of figure out what I've been thinking about the movie a little bit clearer. And here's the thing. I think that this movie was almost doomed to fail. I don't think there was a way that this movie was going to meet everybody's expectations. I don't think, even the cast, I don't even think it met their expectations. I think this was a really rough film to have to do right after his death, basically. And I don't hate the film quite, or dislike the film quite as much as you guys do. Like, I heard, you and Weber, comparing it to the Eternals. I'm like, come on, man. It's not nearly that bad. I walked out of the Eternals. I didn't walk out of Wakanda Forever. So I wouldn't put it on that level. I mean, I think it's better than Captain Marvel and Thor 2. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It's just that compared to the excitement that we have for the first movie, it does kind of take away from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that there were some there were some good things about the film. The performances were great. Angela Bassett, amazing. I even think Letitia Wright, even though I don't think she can carry this franchise at all, I saw growth as an actress with her in this film. Because if you think about the first movie, she was just a quirky little scientist chick who, has some one-liners, and that was it. Where in this, she did show range in her acting, which, for me, I appreciate, but I just don't think that it was enough to carry this franchise forward. I think that there was something definitely missing, and it wasn't just Chadwick Boseman. Like, the thing that was missing was, we're not, we're not rooting for this Black Panther. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like we're not, cheering this Black Panther on. We're not like, we want T-shirts and action figures, and we want little kids to, mimic this Black Panther. That Black Panther we got in the film suit the film, it suit the movie, or it suited the story. But I don't see how moving forward that's going to be. It's not going to be a draw at all. It's not going to bring people to the theater.
I mean, I think that's my point. If this movie needs to make $1 billion to make money, it's not going to make $1 billion, because the only way to make $1 billion is repeat viewing.
Right.
And this movie does not warrant repeat viewing.
No, it warrants one watch, and honestly, let's be honest, man. Like, most people are going to watch it because they want to see how they handle Chadwick's death. That's the main reason people are going to watch this film. But here's the thing, man. I mean, even with that said, the story wasn't bad. The story of the film is actually pretty solid. Everyone had a legitimate reason for doing the things they did in the film, and motivations were good. Everything was on point, except for the fact that this franchise just can't go anywhere. I completely agree with Eric Weber. And for those of you don't know who Eric Weber is, he's a friend of ours who has this great YouTube channel called Midnight Movie Talk. And I watched his show and what he said about it, and I totally agree with him that the weakest thing about Wakanda Forever was Namor or Namor, whatever.
He's the only one. Well, yeah, we could talk about that.
Yeah.
That character just didn't work for me. He's the only one who calls himself Namor, and
Right.
everyone else says Namor, which is the pronunciation we've used for years. I will say I disagree with you, Dante, from the standpoint of the more I had the time to think about it, the more the movie fell apart for me. And I always think about, we were talking earlier about just the decision to kill the character. Not they made that choice, and I think that that's going to have huge ramifications for this reason. And I talked about it on the Nerdrotic Nooner. And now, okay, so this is Wakanda Forever. Before I talk about that, it was 90% last night. Let's refresh and see where we're at. It's now down to 85%. No audience ratings yet, but there will be. But I'll say, for me, I would put this as one of the worst Marvel movies, if not worse than Eternals for me. And I'll tell you why. It's because it's a self-inflicted wound, and it was unnecessary. It's to me, the movie felt episodic. We got to go here. We got to get Riri from MIT. We've got to go do this thing. We've got to go do that thing. It was all over the place. It felt more like a Disney Plus series that they could have broken up into 20-minute episodes with, 9 minutes of credits. And I think that decision to kill the character is going to be devastating. When George Lucas was writing the story for The Empire Strikes Back, he actually consulted a child psychologist and asked, what would the effect be of kids learning that the hero's father is the villain Darth Vader? How is that going to affect children? And I don't think that they have kept in mind children and, dads bringing their sons to this movie to see the character that they beloved with their Black Panther pajamas at home. How
Right.
are they going to feel about doing that? They made a choice to do this. This is, I think, a colossally bad decision that will kill the franchise.
Mm.
I think it was an emotional decision that was motivated by Ryan Coogler reacting to the real death of Chadwick Boseman, and the cast for that matter. It's tragic. Maybe he shouldn't have been the one to make the follow-up if they were going to recast. And I think and look, there's a reason recast T'Challa trends every month or so. Maybe even every couple of weeks, you see recast T'Challa. T'Challa. People love that character. And I just think about the kids. Who are they looking up to, right? Look, just the toys, the kids, that there is a fandom around that character for sure among children. And you make this conscious choice. I mean, that would be like killing Harry Potter because Daniel Radcliffe died. You just don't.
I totally agree with that. And I think the biggest problem Disney has with this is that they left themselves no way out. They literally killed T'Challa in the film. They kill him off, right?
I mean, let's ask this question. I mean, what would the story have been had Chadwick Boseman not died? I think we would then have a Black Panther movie that we wanted to see. but they were forced into having to tell this story, and that's the problem.
Well,
Let me speak the story just for a
I
second.
disagree.
Well, honestly, they could have kept the same story. It could have been T'Challa versus Namor. Like that could have been the story.
But I'm saying the overall emotional impact of the movie would be so much different had Chadwick Boseman not died and had he been the star of this movie versus what they were forced into telling this story because he did pass. And you know, yeah, we could keep talking about recasting, but it's too late. The movie's been made. I mean,
but okay, let's take it a step further though, right? Say they did recast T'Challa. You know, whoever they would have chosen to replace him would have been under a microscope. You know,
he wouldn't have lived up to Chadwick.
Constantly compared to Chadwick Boseman, right?
It's happened. Look, I mean, look at James Bond as a franchise, right? There was Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan. I mean, Daniel Craig. Every James Bond. Oh, I don't know. Can he fill the shoes? It's a different take. It wouldn't have been what Chadwick Boseman did, but it could have been a new, fresh take on that character with new attributes. I don't know. It's like, I feel like they didn't have to go this route. This is why I disagree with you, Alan. They were not forced to tell this story. They chose to tell this story. And by not recasting T'Challa, they are going to disappoint. Kids are going to go into this movie, and I think it will be traumatizing.
Okay, but Chris, you have to understand this too. If you're Disney, right?
Right.
And Ryan Coogler, who's already made you $1 billion, says,
right,
I can do this story. As Disney, what are you going to do? Are you going to say no to the guy who's already made you $1 billion that, you know, you don't trust him to do it again? Like they rolled the dice, right? They rolled the dice and said, you know what? He did it once. He could probably do it again. And here's the thing. I guarantee you it's going to do well. The movie's going to do well. People are going to watch this film. The problem is that it's not going to be the takeaway they got from the first film.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep bringing it back to Namor for me, man. I think that Namor was the weakest part of this film. I agree with our friend Weber on that. That was not the guy we needed. Okay, if you're not going to have,
let me address that for a second.
Then you need somebody strong, a strong male to hold this film together. And we didn't get that. And the two strong males we did get only got 10 minutes of screen time.
Well, yeah, and let's actually talk about that just briefly.
Yeah,
I want to mention that Winston Duke as M'Baku is in the movie.
Yeah,
he's great. He's fun. He's a little comic relief. He's a strong.
What he does with the carrot is
what's that?
What he does with the carrot is amazing. I mean, that was response from people were sitting there quiet until Winston Duke walks in and takes a bite of a carrot, and the entire audience woke up at that moment.
Right. But it's also that, and like, look, and this is, I mean, it's out there. I don't know that you consider it a spoiler, but Michael B. Jordan's in the movie. He's briefly not briefly, but he's in one scene in the movie unexpectedly. The movie comes alive when the male characters are there. These female characters, the ensemble, Angela Bassett's probably the best. I mean, she's the most experienced actress. And someone just mentioned to me that she was in consideration to play Storm in the 90s. Which I think would have been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, she brought the emotional weight to the film.
Right. If anything, she was the best actress. I don't necessarily agree with you on Letitia Wright. I think she's a good side character. That's what I said. No, I agree with you on that. I'm saying she's a good. I said she showed growth in this film, but no, she's still not the person, like I said, to carry this franchise forward. Yeah, and
if she becomes Black Panther, I don't know that she could carry a third Black Panther movie.
No, I don't think so at all. I think that would be a mistake. But I'll look, I'll be honest. Her being, the Black Panther in the film,
maybe.
Well, I mean, in this film,
what do you mean, maybe?
Right.
We gotta at least do some due diligence.
You guys can do spoilers, man. Anyway.
No, we're just doing. Look, should we change this to spoiler? Let's just have the conversation. But you were saying, Dante, sorry.
Yeah. No, so my point is that if she's the Black Panther, it wouldn't have been so bad if the rest of Phase 4 wasn't so quote unquote MCU, right? Like if it wasn't for She-Hulk and Miss Marvel and all these other things that Disney has done over the past year that have kind of feminized the MCU. And ladies who are watching this, please understand, I'm not saying this to be sexist or, saying that women can't lead a film. I'm saying that Disney handled it the wrong way, is what I'm saying. Right? So if that wasn't such a big issue, I think, Shuri possibly being Black Panther wouldn't have been a big deal, right? But the fact that we've been bombarded with all these other kind of pointless, shows and, characters, it kind of just added more it added fuel to the fire of the MCU being a thing, right? And everything being female led now instead of having strong male characters, right? Love and Thunder, another one. It's like it's just, I think Disney didn't do themselves any favors, and by them, choosing to go this direction, they kind of shot themselves in the foot in multiple ways.
Well, the other thing I will point out, and I've mentioned this before, I think that the reason that there are so many female fans of Marvel movies, MCU, is pretty, and we saw this evolve because Dante, you and I have been going to San Diego Comic-Con for a while.
Yeah.
And I remember if you went to San Diego Comic-Con, even in the early 2000s or the 90s, right? And you saw a woman at San Diego Comic-Con, it was like you saw Bigfoot. Because you don't see a lot of women at Comic-Con, but I believe that the MCU not only made like geek culture mainstream, but also it created a lot of female fans of Marvel, and not fake fans. Okay, I'm talking about women who love Marvel movies and then get involved in the merch or whatever. And can I tell you why that happened? Because the male leads of the Marvel movies were popular among men. They were also popular among women. I believe that both men and women like to see a strong male lead in a film. That is a fact. I'm sorry. There's other videos on our Film Threat YouTube channel. If you look up Topless Avengers, we compiled a video by phase of all the scenes where male Marvel characters take their shirts off.
Which is pretty much all of them.
It's all of them. They all do it. You sign up to be in a Marvel movie, you're a guy, you are going to take your top off.
And if you're Chris Hemsworth, you show your ass.
And more. But I'm just saying that like with this, and that's fine. I love the fact that like, what does it take? Someone even described once for me the first Avengers movie as like a Chippendales show. It's like all these sexy, buff men. That is an attractive feature to both men and women. So now you take that away, and the moments that come alive is when Winston Duke is on screen. He, to me, is like every time he was on screen, it's like, I'm back and I'm interested in this movie. Then it got to all of the ensemble of female characters where I didn't understand what they were trying to do. And I will say this, the actress who plays Riri Williams, I think that she's fine. Actually, she's kind of likable in the sense that she's kind of the comic relief, but her storyline with being this genius at MIT, making basically an Iron Man suit. And then Eric Weber pointed out there's an action scene on a bridge where she's in this suit. Does she like flamethrower a bunch of people?
You know what? For some reason, like I saw when he said that, I don't even remember that. I don't remember her doing that.
Well, see, that speaks to the problem I had with the movie. Dante, you talked about the story being solid, and I agree with you.
Right.
I think if I were reading the story of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, that's a better movie than the actual movie, and a lot of it is the muscle and the skin that they put on that structure, and the action sequences in this movie I was not even close to being impressed with.
They felt more cartoony in this movie.
So the whole bridge sequence, there's a car chase because we're on a bridge, and then Riri Williams flies in her Iron Man suit, and it just felt like down in the bottom half of the screen is the car chase, and on the top is the CG Iron Man suit, and then the fight sequences were just so subpar. It was very hard to follow the actual action of the fight, which is the number one important thing you need to do when you shoot an action sequence, is to make sure the audience is following exactly what action is going on, where the swings are being made, where the punches are going. And And this movie just it's this
See,
movie should have been a lot better than it was, even with the story that was being told.
See, I felt like some of the weaker action moments came from Neymar, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't buy him at any given moment. Like, even when he's flying around and doing all these things, I never felt like we were watching a badass. You know what I mean? I never felt like we were watching, a menace, right? Like, I mean, look,
Yeah,
I know,
he wasn't a villain. He never came across emotionally as a villain of some sort. We talked about he should have been more like Dr. Doom, but in this movie, there's a moment we're supposed to like him and connect with, his love for his country, and Black Adam. He should have been more like Black Adam in the sense of I'm protecting my country and I'm going to do whatever it takes, kill people in order to protect it.
Like, I know that they weren't trying to necessarily use or try to even mimic the Neymar of the comics, which is unfortunate. But even if you just took the characteristics of Neymar from the comics, right? He's a dick. He's arrogant.
He's trying to fuck Reed Richards' wife.
Yes, he's an adulterer.
He's a bad boy, yeah.
But
he's a homewrecker. Neymar's a homewrecker.
But more than anything about Neymar, though, and at least from the comic, is that he is a menace and he's a badass. And at any time when Neymar's around in the comic, things can go horribly wrong, right? And we never got that from this actor. I wish I could remember his name. Because he's not a bad actor. I've seen him in other things. Great actor. He just was not the guy. Yeah, he just wasn't the guy for that role. It's unfortunate. And,
it's bad direction. He wasn't given the right direction in terms of.
Well, no, not just direction. He didn't have the look. He didn't have the look, right? Like Weber was right about the fact that, Neymar, if you're only going to wear a Speedo, if that's your costume, then you better be ripped, right? Like, you better be fucking built, right? He's not that guy. He has a very average, normal, everyman body, right? And that's not what you want Neymar to look like. Neymar needs to have a swimmer's body at least, and muscles everywhere. And you just never felt any kind of, like I said, menace from this guy. He's on screen most of the time. He's coming off like a nice guy, which was weird to me. And I get he was trying to get Shuri to team up with him, but I didn't buy him. And unfortunately, if you don't buy him, then the movie just falls completely apart.
Yeah, I agree. You just didn't feel any sense of gravitas or weight. Look, what if Namor had a hand in the death of T'Challa? At least would have added some motivation, right?
Yes, I totally agree with that.
And this is what, we started this conversation talking about how I believe they should have recast T'Challa. The fact that, T'Challa's death happens off screen, I think is a terrible decision. Look, they put Carrie
but
Fisher,
I think that was done out of respect, though. I think that would have been hard to
look. Carrie Fisher died before they made The Rise of Skywalker, and they put her in the last Star Wars movie, right? They used footage that was shot from other pieces, right? Of Force Awakens and Last Jedi, and they were able to put Carrie Fisher in, and her character does pass away. That makes sense. It's the last Star Wars movie, whatever. But Black Panther should be a franchise. There should be 9 Black Panther movies and 3 different actors that play the role. I think this is a huge mistake that Disney's going to pay for. And I think it was terrible to not at least see him to say goodbye, have a moment. Like, they've got footage. You have all hundreds of hours of footage of Chadwick Boseman. You couldn't have used it in some way. You couldn't have had him in some act of self-sacrifice, and he knows he's going to die. He takes the mask off, and you just see that it's Chadwick Boseman. He knows, but he's sacrificing himself to save Wakanda. It would have been a weird thing to say, but a glorious death.
No,
right?
I totally agree with that. I think that would have worked so much better if they did it that way.
Yeah, and they choosing not to do that was a huge mistake. It was a huge mistake, and I think that this story, the more I thought about it after, because we were all we all walked out of the movie, everyone was quiet. Did you notice that the movie ended? We all walked out, and everyone was just quiet. Then we got out, and we were like, "What the hell did we just see?" Then we just couldn't we were talking about it, trying to process it. And the more I've thought about it, the more I dislike the film because of the potential it could have had. It could have reinvigorated. It could have also been a tribute to Chadwick Boseman. It could have been a tribute to him. They could have done a tribute. They do a tribute in the Marvel logo in the beginning. There's a little montage at the end, which people have talked about. Like, okay, that's it. You know what? Leave that in the film. That's fine. But bring in someone else to take up the mantle. Right? Or even have like Killmonger have something of a change of heart, some way to get him on the throne or whatever. Like, just like Michael B. Jordan would have been awesome. You would have been great. And I don't know.
We talk about Jonathan Majors could have been a great replacement.
There's a lot of actors that could have stepped in with a different take or what. We've got a lot of, I just want to get to
By the way, I'll just say this, you can leave during the credits.
Yeah, during the credits.
Once the mid credits.
And also, really quickly, I just want to state that the runtime of the film didn't do the film any favors.
No,
the runtime was just it was way too long.
That's an understatement. I'm gonna go. We're gonna keep talking about this, but I want to get to some of these super chats, and then we will get
let's do it.
more of the comments. Let's read these.
By the way, 1,600 people in the chat, watching us now.
Oh, there's 1,600 people. Well, you know what that means. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, and also please slap that like button.
Oh wow!
And we are 100 subscribes away from 57,000.
And you know what that means? Once we hit 57,000.
That used to be my favorite scene in a movie.
Yeah. You know, I saw a documentary that had that scene in it, and you ruined it. It's just
Life is Good for 5 says they haven't learned anything, guaranteed. Yeah,
I'm really disappointed in Ryan Coogler for this movie.
CD Stein 69 for $4.99, who's also a member. Thank you for that. So is T'Challa retconned? Is he now a mutant and died from incurable legacy virus? How can that society so advanced not come up with a cure so bad? Like, yeah, that's it's never explained. It's not explained. Although Namor, he uses the word mutant to describe
himself. He refers to himself as a mutant.
He refers to himself as a mutant, but T'Challa, no. And Michael,
and by the way, the last part of that question is addressed in the movie. How can advanced society have let him pass?
Michael Tynan for $50.
Wow,
$50. I don't know what sort of reward can he get for $50 here. We should have. Well, we thank you. We thank you for that, Michael. Appreciate it. Hey, guys, Chris may be charming, but Alan is nicer. Now take my money. Well, I would never argue that Alan isn't nicer. He's nicer. He just is. Solomon Thornton for 10. Thank you for that. The movie had many possibilities. Namor being the one to kill T'Challa. Namor could be redeemed. The multiverse, different version of T'Challa. Set the film between Infinity War. Just recast T'Challa / Namor. Agree.
I will say this: if Namor had killed T'Challa in the beginning, I think that's the mojo the movie would have needed to give it a lot of momentum and make it a much better film. And you wouldn't have to change the story that much afterwards.
There's so much potential. You could have had this movie set during the blip. T'Challa was gone for 5 years, shows up at Endgame, and participates in the big battle to defeat Thanos. And then what happens after? Well, he just goes to T'Challa. He goes back to Wakanda, gets some weird disease and dies. Like that's the end. That's not the end for a great character. I really I'm sorry. I'm going to keep harping on this because I guarantee what's going to happen is this movie's going to come out. It's going to do really well opening weekend. It's going to drop dramatically. It's going to get no second viewings. This is not a movie you need to see more than once. Okay, so it's just not gonna. It doesn't stand up to. I don't believe it'll stand up to repeat viewings. The second thing is the running time. It's a 3-hour experience. If you include, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. Throw trailers in there. 3 hours in a movie theater. That is a turnoff to a lot of people. Okay, we'll see how it affects Avatar 2, which is apparently 3 hours and 10 minutes, folks. 3 hours and 10 minutes. Get ready for that one. Yeah, the movie had possibilities as a blank sheet of paper. I'm thinking about that. You did not have to tell this story this way. You didn't have to do it. And you could still have had Riri Williams. You know, you still could have had Shuri becoming, say, a new Black Panther along with T'Challa, or she takes the mantle while he's gone during she snapped away, but we never saw it on screen. Is that right?
I don't know.
Shuri was gone during the snap, right?
Yeah, she and T'Challa were gone. So,
but did they show her go away?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember seeing her go.
I think in Endgame they showed at the beginning when they showed all the missing people.
That's right. That's right. Okay, yeah. Evan Jantz for 5 says, Dante, the greatest question hanging over all of us is Wakanda Forever black enough? Your thoughts? And maybe, yeah, I'll address the same question after Dante. No, I'm kidding.
Right. No. You know what? Here's the thing, man. I don't think anybody went in expecting a black movie. You know what I mean? I think honestly, most people are going to go in because Chadwick is in their heart, kind of thing, right? Like they're going to see this movie for Chadwick Boseman, and it's weird, man. Like all of that stuff that happened in the first movie and all the celebrations about this being like, you know, the first major, you know, black superhero movie and that whole thing. I think people are going more into this one kind of like I don't want to say like a funeral, but more like they want to kind of put Chadwick to rest themselves. You know what I mean? Like I think most people are going to go in watching this movie wanting to say goodbye to Chadwick, you know, in that way. And I the whole time I'm watching it, I was just thinking, you know, I don't think this is necessarily a white, black, whatever kind of movie. I just think this is a movie where people love an actor and we want to see how they handle it, right? So
the problem is he's not even in the movie. So how do you say goodbye?
That's the problem. Is that
he's not in the movie?
That is the big problem.
Yeah.
It's a huge problem, and I think also I don't know. I just come back to this was a bad choice to choose to tell this story. It didn't work for me and gets worse the more I think about it. Ding fucking dong for 20 something. She-Hulk killed.
That's my uncle, by the way.
There you go. Ding fucking dong.
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
That's racist.
She-Hulk killed Last of Disney for me. No way back.
Yeah.
Charles Rents for 10. Coogler's biggest weakness is hospital scenes. They're always flat, pat, and emotionless. Fruitville and Creed both show this. What you describe is the worst way Coogler could have handled it. Well, it's one way to handle it. I actually think it would have been better if Black Panther was in a Wakandan ship. He's flying and he battles someone and dies in an act of self-sacrifice. Or did he die? You know what I mean? Like maybe something happened to him, and when he comes back, I mean, just something like.
I mean, honestly, what they could have done was the beginning of the film could have just been a memorial for, you know, T'Challa, and you know they could have had all the sentimental scenes and that whole deal. But if you remember in the film, they do a time jump. They do a 1-year time jump, and that's when they could have just started new, and they could have found a new Black Panther to replace T'Challa. It could have been as simple as that, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
that action sequence after the 1 year, 1 year later, I thought was great. It reminded me a lot of James Bond.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of the intrigue, the politics. And I kind of wish the movie had taken that and just ran with it. Said, okay, T'Challa is dead. Now let's tell this story.
And that's why I keep saying it wasn't a horrible story. If you think about it, if they came at it from the fact that, yeah, of course, all these major nations want to pillage Wakanda for its resources, right? And so the story tracks. And then you bring Namor into it, who obviously we plunder the sea for resources. And it could have been just a much better film overall.
Absolutely.
But they made weird choices, man, that pulled away from that.
Yeah.
Because the story was there.
You had the specter of Chadwick's death hanging over the rest of the movie. Absolutely. Yeah. All the way to the end. you're always constantly being reminded that Black Panther is dead, and they should have just moved on at that
Yes,
point.
yes, that's all they have to do. Do the 1 year jump. We did our mourning. Let's start new now, right? And that's all they have to do. But I get Ryan Coogler, that was his friend. He wanted this whole movie to be one big homage to Chadwick. So
Ghost Rider for 2 says, I can fix the Black Panther franchise. Well, how would you, Ghost Rider? I'd like to know how. Zephyr for 2 says, go spoilers. We are not watching this trash anyway. Okay, we could switch gears. Super Cosmic Mutant Honey Candle Squid.
Wow.
You need a longer name.
That's the name.
Boys are getting their heroes taken away. I agree. Like, look, I love all the female. I think the female characters in Black Panther are some of the strongest and best in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. No one complained about them when the first Black Panther movie came out. People even remarked, like, "Damn, the female characters in this are great. They're all badasses." And they're badasses in Infinity War, right? They're great in that. Like, he built not just Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, but all these other characters and a world. But the movie can't be centered on it. For some reason, they are not as interesting in this movie. Maybe you both can comment on this. Like,
remember 10 years ago when Disney had a problem. All their movies, all their films, all their TV were for girls, Disney princesses and the like. So what did they do? They bought Marvel because there was now a new franchise that appealed to boys. And so now they had the Disney princesses for girls and the Marvel superheroes for boys. And for some reason, they've lost that. They decided the boys don't matter anymore. They don't have the money.
Well, I think it's stupid. It's short-sighted. I think that ultimately all of these things started out for young boys. It's young boys' power fantasies. That's superheroes in a nutshell. And to take this away at a time when I think it's really important in the upbringing of young kids, both boys and girls, to have heroes to look up to. And you literally are killing one in the movie, and you chose to do it. I am so against that decision, and I think it'll ultimately kill the franchise. And you're right, boys are getting their heroes taken away, and it just seems tragic. Some more here. Charles Rentz became a member. We thank you for that. Lubitsch Touch Me says 1,600 people in the chat. Hot dog. Hell yeah. And Lloyd Tancred says Wakanda forever for a pound, effectively. Sean Z Comic Construct for $4.99. For real, Ironheart introduced in 2016 in the comics. Not enough time to use as source material. It's an excuse to say, hey, it's in the comics. RIP comic books, FT for life. Yeah, I mean, Ironheart is kind of a new creation. I kind of feel like, this is the reason, there's decades of history of stories with Tony Stark and Captain America, so many other heroes and whatnot. I kind of feel like some of the newer characters, they kind of need time to develop, because there are runs of the Fantastic Four where you're like, not so much, or there are runs that are like great, and then you use the story material. You basically have that as story material to use for your films and TV shows, right? You've got this resource to draw from. But Ironheart,
the thing is, they already paid off the creator, so that they're free to build stories upon them without getting backlash decades later.
But you know what, though? To be honest with you, I thought going in, my biggest problem with the film was going to be Riri Williams, and it turned out that it wasn't. Like, she actually wasn't that bad. And I think the reason why, I won't say I liked her, but the reason why I think she didn't take away from the film is because they weren't making these comparisons to Tony Stark, right? Like, she was just her own person who had these genius kind of ideas, and they could have even played on the fact that because she's so smart, she stole Stark tech, just something along those lines, where, because Tony's gone. He's no longer in the MCU. So, but his technology is still out there, right? So they could have played with that a little bit, like, not to the point where they're taking away from the Wakanda movie, but the fact that, yeah, she's very smart, and she's a little morally flexible, and that's why she steals tech, right? Like there's a lot of ways they could have played that, but I didn't feel she took away from the film though.
No,
Yeah,
she
my only
didn't.
problem is that how in the film did they establish she was smart and brilliant? Because they told us.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
No, absolutely.
Dialogue.
And that's lazy storytelling at that point.
No, I totally agree with that part. But she didn't take away as much as I thought she
I
did.
agree with you.
Right.
Yeah.
George, the Giant Slayer for $50. All hail to Chris and Alan, the dynamic duo of cinema. I would include Dante as the dynamic trio. Wakanda won't have legs. It's time to change out the furry battalions of beta males behind the MCU's Phase FU. All hail Film Threat. Oh, well, thank you for that. That is awesome, man. And Adrian Curry is in our chat. Adrian, miss you in LA. Love hanging out with you.
Adrian Curry's in the chat.
Adrian Curry, and she's a member. Thank you, Adrian. Love you, Adrian. She says, sounds depressing.
It is depressing.
Not wrong.
It actually, that's the best way to
going
describe it. It is a very depressing movie.
Yeah. Pitbull on Pinball in Arcades for 2. Worst acting. Namor couldn't understand him. Lol. There were moments I had trouble understanding him. Was it just me?
I was okay with it. I think the clips they released for some reason seemed worse than they were than they actually appeared in the movie.
Right.
You know what's funny though? That I like after thinking about it, and when I was talking about how I never felt the menace, I never felt he was a badass. But then I thought, yeah, but his people were badass. Like that, the big guy and Namora, the side chick, whatever, they were badass. When they were on screen, they were just kicking people's ass the whole time. Right.
Yeah, when you see an army of them crawling up a ship.
Yeah, like his people
creepy.
were like, I bought his people. I didn't buy him. So, and that's a problem, man.
More super chats here. JJ Chili Dogs for $4.99. Even Mystery Science Theater 3000 Puma Man is better than Black Panther 2. Have you ever seen Puma Man? It's a real thing.
I haven't seen that yet.
A real thing. Sean Z Comic Construct for $4.99. Female characters are good more for cosplay for us to look at. But Chris made a great point. Girls love superhero guys like the superhero girls. I kind of feel like, yeah, there are a lot of female Marvel fans. They were fans because they liked the male characters. And when you're taking the male characters away, you're not just taking away things that like young boys or men can look up to as heroes, right? Or aspire to be, but you're taking away that for women as well. I really think that this gamble, rolling the dice on this, is a colossally bad decision. Colossally bad. That will basically end in the Marvel franchise just being less and less relevant.
It's kind of funny, and kind of speaking on that a little bit. Going back to what someone else said previously about how woke is the movie or Wakanda Forever. I didn't feel this movie was woke at all. Like, and I don't feel even with the female lead and everything, it wasn't woke. I think this was a case of a director who lost his friend and didn't want to replace him with another guy. And I think the closest thing would have been the sister, his sister, because she was already a part of it. I didn't get woke from this movie. I think Coogler was too close to this property and too close to the actors to where he couldn't bear to give it to another actor. You know what I mean? I think this was a case of the director, not this being woke or pushing an agenda. It wasn't anything like that. It was just he didn't want to pass it on because that was his friend.
And by the way, there were no Asians in it, so it definitely wasn't woke. So.
Or trans people, to my knowledge.
And the whites were in the minority in this movie. I'll just point that out.
There were 4
Freeman's in it.
There were 4.
There were 4 white people in the whole movie.
Yeah.
But another comment here from Fan Art Exhibit for 5. Someone at Marvel needed to remove the emotions before filming. If Coogler was too upset, he should have done the right thing and stepped aside. I hate to say this. I agree with you.
I agree with that.
I actually think that Coogler should have been a producer on the film, certainly been around and available to do it. He should not have directed it, and they should have recast T'Challa, and I think they're going to pay the price for it. in the end. And also, Dante, just we're going to keep talking. We've been going for over an hour, but we're going to continue this as long as you can stick around. Where can people subscribe to your channel? I want to make sure, because you're just about to launch your own YouTube channel.
I am. It's going to be called Verbal Riot. It's coming very soon. I'm thinking like actually next week will be where, I'll let people know that it's out and ready to go. And it's just, me basically talking a bunch of shit.
Oh, well, I love talking. That's what we do when we get together, is we just talk shit.
That's all we do. We drink and we talk shit. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing.
I was at the bar last night. I was at the 35er in Pasadena watching the election results. I was just watching the election results.
That must have been a good time.
Oh, no, it was fun. It was fun. Pitbull on pinball and arcades for 2. Mantis, Meteor Man, First Black Heroes in Movies. Don't forget Blade. Don't forget Blade.
And remember, I said major motion picture.
Right.
Meteor Man, all those movies were considered black films back then.
Right.
So
what was that one that Will Smith was in? Where like the first half of the movie's great. And then
the one with Charlize Theron?
Yeah.
It began with an H, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't remember it? Because I don't either.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Hitch. That was a different movie. Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about. It sounds like a last name.
The chat knows. The chat knows.
Let's see, Hancock.
That was it. Look, there's like 20 people that just said Hancock all at once.
Yeah.
That's the advantage of having 15. We don't normally get this large of an audience, so we appreciate you for tuning in. In fact, I thank you so much. That no, I can't show that. No, I can't show that one. No, I can't show that. All right. Well, here, I'll show this one. See, Alan and I can be friends.
I know. It happens.
No, it does. It definitely happens. It definitely happens. All right. More chat questions and comments here. I think we went through all the super chats. No, wait, another one here. No, I already got that one. Couple more chats here, and then I want to pivot and talk about other aspects of the movie. Here we go. Adrian Curry says Wolverine equals alpha male. Agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, God.
He's the quintessential bad boy.
I love it. Ramina Jones says this is a great trio on Film Threat right now. Hell yeah. We're going to reunite this trio.
We have good times.
No, we do. It just, yeah. In fact, we're doing panels. I just got, if anyone is going to be at LA Comic-Con, the 3 of us will be doing panels at LA Comic-Con in December. More on that later. Hung to the Over says, as a woman, no woman in the MCU is empowering to me.
Wow, that says something.
No, I mean, like there's I like there are a lot of good female characters, just not the ones they've introduced in the last couple of years. Gamora, Nebula.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's good characters. I would say that Black Panther, that was one of the strongest aspects of that. There's so many new things in that film, right? The world, a whole movie centered on Black Panther, on T'Challa, like Chadwick Boseman's performance, Michael B. Jordan, you can't Killmonger, like that character alone, like, which is why I don't know why they didn't lean into him more. He had, like I say, he has one scene. But I think the newer characters that they're introducing into the Marvel Cinematic Universe are weak at best. So Julia Louis-Dreyfus, here's a spoiler. She's in Wakanda Forever. And we find out
it doesn't work. It
doesn't work at all. Like, I'm not even sure why they put the Valentina character.
It doesn't even set up Thunderbolts, which is what it should have done. And it doesn't. Right. I think we talked about this, but I think they foisted her upon Ryan Coogler and said, put her in the movie. And he didn't know what to do with it.
Just to promote some Disney Plus bullshit. It's so irritating. Papa Bull for 10 says, a hero is defined by his or her flaws. The problem with modern female heroes is they do not give them any flaws to overcome. They are already perfect. They just don't know it yet. And that's
actually no. I will say this: Shuri in this film was flawed.
Yeah, majorly flawed.
She was very flawed. She was not.
I mean, her like I said, the bones of the movie are fine. She had a really good character arc.
A great arc.
I was surprised they gave her, but they just couldn't execute it right.
Right.
Yeah, it's God.
But you know what though? On this topic though, I will say this. That comment was right, because I've noticed when Marvel does their female characters now, their heroes now, it's like they give them as little flaws as possible, right? Like they're already perfect, right? Like She-Hulk already knew how to be a Hulk, right? Like on the first episode, she already knew how to be a Hulk, and where it took Bruce 15 years to learn how to master his situation. You know, they bring these characters out to already be perfect, and that's not interesting, and it leads to bad storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Valentina, I don't think they're handling her right at all.
No.
I don't understand the character, even though I know the character, and I don't understand whether she really is, kind of a villain, an anti-hero, or whatever. They're just not handling her right.
No.
All I can say is every time I see her, I think of Veep. And I thought Veep was a great show.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Veep was very funny, and she cannot pull this off.
They could have leaned into that even to make
I agree.
that character more like I forget the character's name, but her character in Veep,
right?
Even Elaine for that matter.
MK Solid 82 for $4.99. Chris, can we paste Alan's face onto the doll in the 1980s My Buddy toy commercial? We can 100% do that.
My buddy.
You know what? I'm also going to say this too, though. I feel like if Disney can't win with this movie, with this franchise, like Black Panther is an easy win.
Yeah.
If they can't win with this, like, I'm not looking forward to Phase 5.
Yeah.
Phase 4 has been a wash. Phase 4 has been terrible.
Yeah. Adrian. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, sorry. Adrian Curry says Black Widow is okay, I guess. She's no Aeon Flux. I love Aeon Flux. Watch the cartoon.
Also with Black Widow, hate what they did with the Taskmaster. I'm gonna keep saying that.
Yeah. Well, she's gonna be back.
Hated what they did with the Taskmaster, but anyway.
By the way, I think Guardians 3 is the only movie where anyone's really looking forward to at the moment.
But here's the thing: I trusted Ryan Coogler too, man. Like, I know I can trust James Gunn, but now I'm nervous because I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
I think it really comes down to that corporations kill creativity.
Mm-hmm.
It's corporations just kill creativity, and I feel like when you look back at like what Marvel achieved in that decade, right, building up to Thanos and the 2-part Avengers movie, Infinity War and Endgame, that 10-year buildup was done with less Disney involvement. Marvel was its own company.
Right.
The first Iron Man movie was produced by Paramount. It was made
Paramount.
in conjunction with Paramount, so they were kind of getting it together. Then Disney bought Marvel, and there was still like some transition in that period of time. And finally, as the whole thing came to a head in this creative head, all the best creatives have left. James Gunn, with after Guardians 3, he's at DC now. The Russo brothers sound like they have no involvement in Marvel anymore. Jon Favreau, he's off doing his own thing with Mandalorian season 3. Okay, it's the people who really built that backbone and were the architects of that 10-year connected plan leading to those final movies. And don't discount Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans either, and their involvement and their contributions. Okay, that was huge, them being involved. So now those people are all gone. So who's left?
Right.
Who's left at Marvel to steer the ship? And
Victoria Alonso.
Right. And Kevin Feige may have gotten way more credit than he deserved because I think the guy was good at putting the pieces together and hiring good people. Okay. Phase 4
completely exposed him, because now we know it was the people behind him who made the other phases work. Right. Him on his own with this phase has been a shipwreck. Well, name one great thing that came out of Phase 4 besides No Way Home.
I can't. I can't. Even the Disney Plus shows, even like the ones that they started kind of good, whatever, not one Disney Plus show, in my opinion, stuck the landing from where I sit. They just
The closest one might have been Loki, and even then, it wasn't great. You know, it was okay. It was just better compared to the others.
How's your father? Says Namor with dad bod. And Tony Bauer says a hero's death was the least he deserved. Yes, he did not have a hero's death. That's not how I don't think that's how a character like Black Panther should go out. Pitbull on Pinball and Arcades for 2. Don't you think Namor should have gone to the gym?
Well, here's the thing is, you know, Namor in the comics, he should have a swimmer's body. Here he has a wrestler's body. And I think that's the biggest mistake.
Well, I think that also, like, couldn't you have enhanced it with digital or makeup and kind of give him more abs?
Well, it's physiology. I mean, swimmers are thin because of the nature of their activity.
Right.
Wrestlers are different because, you know, they need that more thickness, more padding on their bodies, while swimmers need to be slim and lean. And I think that's where they got it wrong.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some other aspects of the film. The one thing that bothered me about this was the production design. Okay. And let me be specific. Okay. So the original Black Panther, like, you're introduced to the world of Wakanda. It all seems to make sense. There's a geography, you know, there's just everything about it. Like, oh, this feels like a real world. Like, this is like, it's technologically advanced, but also artistic and beautiful. And this goes down from everything to the wardrobe and the design of the costumes to like the world itself and the ships. This movie, it's like, did they hire different people? It's awful. Wakanda looks like a theme park by way of like some 5-star resort. It doesn't.
Yeah, no, it looked like something like, you know, they'd be promoting at Disneyland. I mean,
no, I will say to address it, this is a COVID shoot. It was definitely shot during COVID, and so I think that has a lot to do with the weekend production values. Maybe the fact that they didn't have the crew that was part of the original costumes and productions. They may not have had access to them, and it shows. It absolutely shows in this movie.
It's just a really weak part of it that was strong. That was actually strong in the first movie. It was one of the strong aspects of it, and it failed in that regard.
And to be honest with you, I wasn't impressed with Atlantis either, or whatever they called it in the movie. I wasn't impressed with the underwater city.
No, I actually liked the 3 minutes that we got to see. But you know, because you mentioned you said, I think you said was it the Gungan city was on Naboo was a lot better than this one.
Well, the Gungan city in Star Wars Episode 1 looks like a Lamps Plus, a lamp store.
But it was still better than what we got.
It's still better than what we got in this, which was like this.
I agree with that completely.
Murky. It's also important to know the geography, especially in action movies. You need to know the geography and who's where when, because it matters in storytelling. And this is where the movie really failed. It's like, it feels like this definitely feels like a director that had other stuff going on in his head, where there were other things going on.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, because in the first Black Panther, we saw Wakanda from the sky looking downward. We saw the vastness of the kingdom. Here, you're always on the ground looking up, and so you don't see the grandeur of Wakanda. And a lot of this time we're spent in a small side village, and so you just don't get the grand sense of Wakanda that you got in the first movie.
Right. John Thomas for 5 says Leah Thomas for Namor. So there you go.
Hey, don't give Disney any ideas, man.
All right, we've got a lot more comments here, but before we get to some of these other remarks, I want to get where you guys stand on this. We're going to talk about this more on Friday after everyone has seen it, because one of the weakest parts of this movie is the third act. The third act of this film is so weak. There is something that happens in the third act where I just rolled my eyes. It's supposed to be like this amazing moment, and I completely rolled my eyes. So maybe we should change our header here. Maybe we should change the header for a minute, and I can edit this.
Yeah, you might as well just put spoilers in at this point. Since I've already spoiled everything anyway, so.
No. We haven't spoiled everything. We haven't talked about the third act, but I want to discuss it for a minute. So we are now in spoiler territory, folks. So,
Not deep spoiler, but we'll spoil a thing or two.
Not deep spoilers, but spoilers. All right. It all comes down to Shuri has to take the sort of purple juice that turns you into Black Panther, and she goes off into sort of the spirit realm or whatever. And you think, well, obviously she's going to see T'Challa. Who does she end up seeing?
Killmonger.
Yeah,
Right.
Killmonger. Yeah.
Instead.
So you're making us spoil it. That's the thing.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm making you guys spoil it. I'm not going to think.
know.
But I think it's just funny that
you won't pay me now that I've spoiled it.
Well, we'll see about that. But no, it just seeing like, first of all, it was kind of weird because they make her take that purple juice, and it was just like, I remember Letitia Wright was trending a couple times because she wouldn't take the vaccine. Remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember when that happened?
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't care. I'm like, oh, it's her body, her choice. She can do what she wants.
Dude, not just trending. She was getting mad hate for not taking the vaccine.
Did she shut down her Twitter account for a little bit?
Yeah. They were on her, man.
Oh my God, so annoying. This is why I can't stand Twitter.
You know how the vaccine Nazis are, dude. Like they were on her.
Yeah. But so she takes that, she goes off in this realm, she becomes the Black Panther. Okay, no surprise. Black Panther now is Shuri. And she fights Namor. And I thought it was the most ridiculous fight. I'd like to hear you guys talk about it for a little bit. This fight. I just thought it just looked nonsensical to me. I got to take a quick break. I'll be right back. I'll be able to hear you. Yeah, I'm throwing this out there.
You got one me. I get it.
I will be right back.
Yeah, go ahead, Alan.
I'm thinking about it. I honestly, I don't think I had that big a problem with it. And I think at that point, I was really appreciating the, where Shuri's head was at that point. The thing about this movie is it's about revenge and it's about loss and grief, and they kind of went that direction with it. I'm not saying it was the right direction to go, but at least they made a very bold statement, and it was her need for vengeance that made her this fatally flawed character, which was something I was at least glad to see in this. And so the final fight, you have to take down the bad guy somehow. And I think the point there was she did it in the Black Panther way. And I was okay, but I'll temper it with, this movie should have been a whole lot better than it was. And so I think at that point I was going, okay, I'll accept what I'm seeing at this moment.
So personally, I don't really have an issue with that in fight. Like I thought she outsmarted Namor, and she basically got the upper hand on him, right? Mm-hmm. Like you said, she had an arc. She was on a revenge kick, right? Like where T'Challa was like, this noble leader, she was led by something else, right? She was led by revenge and heartbreak, and like I said, very flawed. Which I at least like that they gave her some depth, right? So I don't have the issue Chris has with it. I just feel like overall, if I did have an issue, is the fact that there's an energy, right? And it would have been different watching, like, say, even Killmonger fight Namor than watching her fight Namor. Like it didn't feel like you didn't feel the punches, you didn't feel the impact, you didn't feel the, kick his ass, right? Like you didn't feel that.
I think you're making the big point. The issue was Namor. It was the villain she was up against, and I think you're going to see that whenever you see Letitia Wright's performance. It rise and fell based on who she was playing against.
Oh yeah,
every time she was with Angela Bassett, or Winston Duke, her performance is elevated. But you have this major fight at the end with Namor, and he's not quite living up to his character either, and that's where it really falls flat at that point.
Yeah, and so I don't have a lot of issues with the fight itself. I just feel like, again, because the villain didn't hold up his part of the film, that's why the fight felt flat, if nothing else.
I'll tell you the big issue I have, a huge issue, and maybe I'll get some crap for this or whatever. And this is kind of a big spoiler. Um, Black Panther / Shuri gets stabbed with a spear through the torso.
Oh yeah.
And then right after, she's fine. She basically gets Reva'd, to call back a reference to the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, where Reva, the character, gets a lightsaber to the chest and then is perfectly fine. I don't know that this is that is a serious wound and injury.
Mhm.
I don't think that it's not explained in the film exactly.
It's kind of, but it's a weak explanation. Basically, the suit is saving her, basically.
But it's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I don't buy it. It takes away, like, so people can just get stabbed right in the torso.
Well, and in all fairness too, though, she did drink the flower or whatever that thing is that give the Black Panther's power. So, and from my knowledge of the Black Panther, he does have healing abilities.
Rapid healing.
It's ironic, considering he dies in the film of a disease, but
which doesn't make sense. I just feel like they conveniently make up rules when at least it should be established. Like, I feel like that should have been something. Maybe she heals from it later, whatever. But like, the fact that it was so quickly happens is ridiculous. I think it makes it that there's no stakes, that something like that can happen to your character and they suffer no consequences. So then what's the point? What are we watching? Nothing in this fight matters. I mean, even Namor gets almost like
well, I wouldn't say it didn't matter, because if she had killed him, and spoiler again, obviously. I know.
Oh, major spoilers here. All right.
Look, but had she killed him, right, and went back to where her people were, her people would have been dead. So there were stakes. If they would have saw Namor not with her or just gone, it would have been revenge. And
well, I mean, that's your point, Chris. The stakes wasn't getting stabbed in the stomach. It was the decision she made afterwards, which was the stakes. And but it was misfocused and misdirected stakes at that point.
Right. And as much as I love when you go to the bar and we'll get chicken wings, I wonder if Namor wings are going to be like a thing that people, because Namor suffers an injury in the film.
Yeah. Well, that's
true. If Disneyland were smart, they would have Namor wings.
They would. Oh my God, that's horrific. Let's go to some of the chat comments and questions. Did I miss any super chats? Let me know. Let me know, Glanuccio, if I missed any super chats.
Oh, God.
But I'm gonna start from the bottom here, just going through our comments. Griffin, no, getting impaled is only a major wound if you have a Y chromosome. Get it right. Romina Jones says, I will not see Blade flick with no blade, or one where he passes the mantle on to a daughter halfway through. Forget it. Not doing it. Want Blade start to finish. I get it. If the movie's called Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, maybe have Black Panther in your movie. Generation Gains. Women don't buy comic books and women don't buy toys, and there's not enough female fans of Marvel to keep this franchise profitable. I disagree. I know a lot of women who are fans of just nerd stuff when it comes to action figures, toys. So maybe it's just
what percentage of all revenue on toys and comic books do you get from women versus girls versus boys, women versus men? I think they overestimate the market share that women have on superhero toys and films and comic books.
I would agree with you, Alan, but I will say this: they exist, and maybe it's because I go to a lot of conventions, Comic-Cons, and like I said earlier, we were talking about this. Like, it used to be that like Comic-Cons were just all men. It was a sausage fest. Now, when you go to Comic-Cons, it's pretty, and correct me if I'm wrong, San Diego Comic-Con, LA Comic-Con, WonderCon, it's 50-50 men and women. It really is 50-50 now. There are different interests and whatnot. I think women are probably more into cosplay than men happen to be. But there are a lot of female fans of genre stuff these days. Are they as rabid? I don't know.
But I get what
the point is
Alan's
you
saying,
don't
like,
you don't
what's the
alienate.
comparison of, you know, the percentage of women versus men who buy these products.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't alienate the men dollars, the boy dollars. You know, if you're in the business to make money, you know, bring everybody in. Don't cast one side out.
Right. Horror Punk says Disney's Marvel stopped making movies and series with kids in mind a while ago. Their content is only for the adult SJW weirdos now. I would say that they definitely keep that in mind. Although I agree with what you said earlier, Dante, when you were talking about that the movie is not super woke. I don't think it is, other than I guess you could read into all the sort of female empowerment, whatever. But these characters aren't very different from who they were in the first Black Panther movie.
Right.
Am I wrong in that? Like, trying to think, like, yeah. Alan Ansara, good point, Alan. Wait, Alan made a good point.
Oh, do we have a video for that?
No, just a quick thing. See, that was a nice video, Alan.
Yeah, I like that video. That was nice.
Alan Ansara says, good point, Alan. Whenever you use absolutes, you're wrong, but the percentage are still higher for men versus women in superhero sci-fi genres. I agree with you. More men have interest in sci-fi, fantasy, whatnot. I would say there's a lot of, I'll say one thing. When it comes to horror, there have been female fans of horror since forever, like that I knew. But really just seeing the demographics shift when it comes to the major Comic-Cons is, I mean, this is how, you know, we've met and hung out with a bunch of different people at Comic-Cons. Dante, I don't want to mention names. I'm not going to mention names right here. I don't want to get, okay. Tina Guzman says, why make the character a female? Why not keep Black Panther a male? They're taking away little boys' superheroes. Boys are getting shortchanged because they think it's toxic masculinity. Shake my head. Like, yeah, I agree. Like, I have a nephew who loves Black Panther. He's like 8 years old, and I can't even think about how he's going to react to this movie and why they would make this decision.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to be a weird one for kids, I think, because it doesn't feel like anything a kid would really be into. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's some action scenes, but I feel like it's too heavy for kids to really get into.
I'll tell you,
they'll be bored. They'll be bored.
This movie is basically, you know, in the comic books, when a major superhero dies, the next issue is this epilogue. Well, this is that epilogue. That's what this movie is.
Right.
But there was no reason for it to happen. It's like I said, this is a self-inflicted wound that Ryan Coogler and Disney Marvel decided to do this. They did not have to tell this story. They're telling this story. It almost seems like the story is being told as a way to heal Ryan Coogler's own pain over losing his friend.
It absolutely is. I think that's you hit the nail on the head with that one.
And Francis Nils says, lol, I'm a girl and I have like 40 action figures. Wait, only 40?
I know, I have 45.
I'm joking. Alcoholic semen thrower. Laugh my ass off. It's not super woke, yet men were portrayed in a positive light. Okay, Chris, what the fuck? It's not overtly woke, right?
Right.
Like,
it's not like you're not watching it thinking, what is this woke shit? You know what I mean? It's not like you were watching She-Hulk. You know what I mean? Like, it was very not that way. Like, and maybe there were some woke moments, but nothing that was glaring, right?
Yeah.
I've just seen way worse. And also it's maybe we're just become desensitized to it now. There's like so much of it. It just didn't feel that way in this, you know, like otherwise you wouldn't have had so many other strong male characters in
right.
So I just wish they had more screen time. Winston Duke in particular, every time he was on screen, the movie came alive for me.
Yeah, but I mean, Winston Duke was the only basically living male character that you could draw to in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that as well.
Yeah. Bevo Burns says there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. It is just masculinity, and they hate it. Laura Buckle says Disney has been so all in on the future is female stuff that I wonder if they would have sidelined Bozeman anyway in favor of other characters. What are your thoughts on that?
Disney underestimates the money that they can draw from the female audience.
But I don't think they wouldn't have sidelined Bozeman at all. He would be Black Panther right now if he were here.
Yeah, but like, would he be sidelined? Would there be a Shuri story arc where she becomes Black Panther?
I mean, here's the thing. Do you think Disney would really sideline their only major Black character?
Well, they just did. They just did in this movie. They sidelined the character.
No, I'm saying. But
are you saying would they John Boyega,
right?
Chadwick Boseman?
If Boseman were
here, right.
They wouldn't have sidelined him at all.
Look what they did to John Boyega in Star Wars, the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, that's something totally different, though.
It's so fucked up. The way
it completely is. I mean, look, man, Disney is notorious for this shit, right? The problem is, though, is like with John Boyega, is that he was the one Black guy in a cast full of white folks, right? Whereas Black Panther is a movie with a lot of Black people, and the main guy is beloved. Right, so they wouldn't have sidelined him.
The character and the actor is
sure. They might have rose Shuri up, and she would have had maybe more of a major part, but they wouldn't have sidelined Chadwick Boseman. Is what I'm trying to say.
Not to mention all the Asian characters in Star Wars.
Oh, Rose.
Oh,
and Newt Gunray.
Newt Gunray, and also the guy who blew up in the A-wing in Return of the Jedi, I think, was Asian.
Oh yeah, that's like the Asian in Black Adam, who is in the helicopter.
Yeah. The gallant Jiria of the legendary Seinen, I disagree. I think that Dante is being too nice.
Too nice.
Too nice. I think that this is a concerted effort to demoralize boys and to destroy positive male role models. Well, whether they intended to do it or not, they did do it. But I believe it, but I don't think they had to do it. And that's what's frustrating to me as a father to a son, as like I have, I have a nephew who loves Black Panther. And I think this is it's just annoying to me to see this happen. Right? There needs to be, I don't care if there are strong female characters, you got to balance it with strong male characters.
I totally agree with that. And also, I never at any point said like the male energy. In fact, I already said the male energy was missing from this movie. And it's felt, right? But my point was that, Shuri and some of the other, actresses had a decent arc, right? And that's why I can't say that this was the worst Marvel movie, because like we said, we've already established that the bones are there, the skeleton is there. There was a story there, right? Unlike Captain Marvel and some of the other dumb shit that came before it, Eternals and all that. There was actually a story here that could have been told, that could have been better, but at least the story was there. It was just told the wrong way.
This movie should have been a whole lot better than it was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't,
which is even worse sometimes, because if a movie's straight up bad, then you could just acknowledge it's bad and leave. Where this movie, you're kind of like, you're trying to see where it goes, and then you realize it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah. I want to mention real quick, Thomas R. Hart says, ha 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 ha, the company who put Bozeman in the mask for China. Wow. Yeah, I agree with that comment.
That's a whole other discussion of Disney hypocrisy.
Right.
Yeah.
And, also, I want to mention before we're continuing, we've over Glanuccio doing a great job highlighting the best comments here, the ones that we'll address, and we'll get to them, and obviously super chats will take priority. But last week I mentioned we were going to have Patrick Reed Johnson, the director of 52577, on the show today. I just had a quick email exchange. We're rescheduling that for next week, and he's got something special to show us. He's got some special videos. So we're gonna continue talking about Wakanda Forever, probably for the next. We'll probably go another 30 minutes or so.
And I believe the film goes to streaming next week as well. So
yeah, it'll be better for us to do that. So I know I promised that last week. I like to let you guys know we bring the filmmakers right to you so you can talk to them. So a week from today, Patrick Reed Johnson, the director of 52577, will be here. So check out the trailer for that movie. Alan and I did just review it. We're going to have the director on next week. But this week we've got Dante. We've got Dante as our special guest. And I hope
who hasn't made one movie.
Well, no, but I just always love, whenever we go to nerd things, just like talking shit just about like Marvel and comics and just Star Wars and everything. So, back to some of your comments and questions. CD Stein 69, I'm betting there won't be another Black Panther feature film. I can see them bringing Shuri to D+ and maybe a guest spot on another team or characters movie. Yeah, the way they've laid it out, I mean, there are a couple blank spots and they kind of laid out phase 5 and 6. Can you find that graphic, Alan? We'll throw it up and share it. I think that basically they just are ending the franchise. Although my understanding is there will be a Disney Plus series. There's going to be a Riri Williams series.
Yes.
Ironheart series that's coming. And I believe that there's talk of a Wakanda series. Isn't it? There's a Wakanda series that's coming.
I've not seen that.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one either.
Amanda Nowicki, kids aren't allowed to look up to male characters anymore. They are only allowed to look up to female characters. Unfortunate, but true. And I just feel for like those of you out there who have young children, in particular young boys, at the very least, there's all sorts of good entertainment that you can show them with male characters. But I just feel like it's shocking to me that there's almost nothing new.
Actually, and let's rephrase that. They're not allowed to look up to straight male characters.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Oh my God.
It's straight male characters they're not allowed to look up to.
Right. It's God. I mean, at least there's enough out there that you can watch old stuff and whatnot. Alan and Sarah, also woke is one of those words like fascist, Nazi, communist that doesn't mean what it used to, because they've been expanded to include people they did not used to. Yes, that term, you've talked about that, Dante, how that term has evolved and was kind of co-opted. And Val E, who's a member, says love for Dante.
Nice. Thank you.
Dante, when are you going to launch your YouTube channel?
I'm telling you, next week I'll have the first couple episodes up. So I'm just, I ran into some technical difficulty. Had to get a new camera, but yeah, it'll be, it's happening.
Yeah. So is the channel live? So you can subscribe to it?
It's not live yet. It's going to be, and I'm going to announce it. And I'll even, ask you if you can, do a little promo for me.
Dude, that's just ask me. Like, of course. Yeah. Got a super chat that came in here from Warachi for 5. If T'Challa's power cannot heal a virus, how can Shuri's power heal massive internal abdominal trauma where you bleed out in seconds? I'm a paramedic. Okay, this guy's a paramedic, Warachi. Or this.
That's a good question.
Might not be a guy. Warachi. Is a paramedic. Yeah, like we've seen this happen with like Reva. We've seen it happen now with Shuri. And I'm like, is this a thing now? You stab a woman in the gut and she's just going to be totally fine. No problem at all. Super easy, barely an inconvenience.
By the way, spoiler, T'Challa got COVID.
Stop it. Tiara Starbrighter for 5. Need male heroes for your children? Don't take your kids to the movies. Take them to the library. Thank you for the 5 and thank you for that comment. I agree. Solomon Thornton says, Dante, did Chris offer you a ticket for Black Panther? Because someone did for me. Really?
Wow.
Offer you a ticket.
I mean, that's a whole. Really. That's another story.
Oh, that's the thing of like people, like white people are supposed to not go see the movie this weekend.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
What do you think about
Yeah.
that, Dante?
So the thing that bugs the shit out of me more than anything, and when it comes to this kind of stuff, is it's always kind of like the the squeaky wheel gets the attention. No, most black folks I know aren't telling white people that they need to pay, for their tickets or not to see the film because it's not for them. These are people who are usually like college age, woke as fuck, black students who think they're changing the world by telling white people that they need to do something for them, right? It's goofy as hell. Like no one nearly close to my age is saying dumb shit like this, unless they're a politician who are pandering basically. It's goofy. It's goofy, man. Like it's goofy. It's cringe. I hate when I see the videos of people, telling white folks, that they shouldn't go opening weekend, which I'm like, are you fucking dumb? Do you want the movie to fail? Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean they shouldn't see the film?
Yeah.
And that goes with pretty much anything. It's the same thing when it's a women-led, property and they tell men, oh, it's not for you. It's like, okay, fine. I won't watch it.
Yeah.
If
you don't like it, don't watch it.
Right.
But
it's cringe. That's all.
There's just whenever I see people like sort of general like on the street and they do like these dumb sort of interviews with woke people, I'm thinking like you have no friends. All your friends are the same and you're an idiot. And that whole thing of like, I remember they went to this one like white neighborhood, they're interviewing people saying, and they're like, oh wow, well, black people they don't have IDs. Then they interview black people and they're like, what are you talking about? I have an ID. Those are people that are just fucking morons. So I don't know. I look at people like that and I think that they're fucking idiots or just trying to like you just sort of throw their woke card out there, which is just ridiculous. Coobs says, what about Keith Ledger's death? He died and they made a standalone film with a sorry, what? Oh, did we lose Alan?
He might have froze. There he is.
He froze. There you go. I don't know. Alan, you might want to go and come back. Coob says, what about Heath Ledger's Joker? He died and they made a standalone film with a different actor and it worked spectacularly. Joaquin Phoenix was scrutinized.
Yeah, I heard you, man.
Joker came out and settled it. So, yeah, no, I agree. Like, I just feel like there's a difference between the character and the actor. And there you go. Patrick Lemire says, I've seen the toys. It's all girl figures and Namor and a Namor. I don't think they understand who drives toy sales. Yeah. Spaceman, what's missing from every Disney Marvel product after Endgame, a story and characters we can care about. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like they should have done a reboot in this sense. They should have basically said, we're going to take a break. They've done this after every, with the original Star Wars films, there was a break. Then they did the prequels. Then there was a break. Then the sequels. We won't talk about the sequels. But like once you have that break, it sort of builds up interest. Like you have a break, you can actually think about where the characters are and how things could change. And I really feel like after Endgame, they should have stopped. But major corporation have to keep stockholders, happy.
Yeah, the stockholders are happy today. Yes.
Are the shareholders happy? They're not happy. Weeznaw says, I'm still waiting for my half Sri Lankan, half European superhero. I am unable to relate with any character that does not 100% represent me. That kind of stuff is just, I just think it's weird thinking to think that every character needs to look exactly like you to identify with that character. I mean, look, I don't look like Chris Evans, but I love the character. And there's a lot of characters. Ripley in Alien. Well, she's the smartest one. She is a woman. I am a man. Why can't I identify with Ripley in Alien and Aliens? So Yeah, that sort of thinking I've never really understood. Alan Ansar says, isn't it odd how they say goodbye to Black Panther versus what Disney Star Wars did to Luke and Han? Chadwick was great, but not a cornerstone of Marvel. Star Wars wouldn't be a thing without Luke and Han. Well, that's a whole other conversation. But what I'm saying is, I think you can't underestimate Chadwick Boseman's, what he did to build this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what you do is you continue the character as a way to honor his legacy. So there you go. Someone just says, Andrew Wordna says, great episode, great panel, long live Film Threat. Well, thank you for that. Johnny Be Good for 5 says, how was Atuma? Was he the main? Also, was there typical MCU homework? Is there setup for other movies, new characters? The question for Alan and Dante on this one.
I don't honestly, outside of Ironheart, I don't think there wasn't much setup for anything else. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like there's no end credit scene. There was no I mean, maybe Valentina being there, but she didn't really do anything or accomplish anything. So like, I don't think there was a setup for her either. I could be wrong, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I can't really add anything to what you just said. I absolutely agree. Valentina, again, I think they just shoved her in there because they needed to, and Ryan Coogler clearly didn't know what to do with her. And
I feel like they shoved her in there because they needed just one more white person. You know what I mean? Like, like they needed just one more. So they just threw that character.
No, they could have thrown at least one Asian in there.
Pitbull on Pinball and Arcades for 2. Agatha, a show nobody asked for. WTF not thinking. So
I know people who really liked her character in WandaVision and are very excited that I know a lot of people who are really into her character from WandaVision. And so and clearly the series came out of that. So it has a shot. There's at least justification behind it. Especially being a Disney Plus series.
Bishop Cruz for 5 says, not the biggest Black Panther fan, but the movie seems pointless without T'Challa. Will pass until streaming. Huge mistake. I would agree. I think that decision, we started our conversation off talking about that. I don't know if I made as compelling an argument. We can only judge the movie that we're given, but I really do feel that when the dust settles, and by dust I mean box office, people are going to be looking back going, oh, maybe we shouldn't have killed the character. Maybe we should have, there could have been a different way to honor Chadwick. I mean, they did a really good thing at the beginning with the Marvel logo and the sort of end montage of him, but you didn't need to. And they could have actually put that montage like in the credits or something, like whatever. I mean, look, these kinds of things have happened, and it's tragic. But I think you honor him by continuing the character and continuing to tell stories. So,
answer these 2 questions: what's next, and are you excited about what's next? I have no idea, and I'm not.
Well, this basically set up the Ironheart show on Disney Plus. We basically saw the origin of Riri Williams and the Ironheart character. Mm-hmm. I think that the Ironheart suit just looks like, someone pointed out, if you look at it, it looks like a heart from the way that the sort of back jets are placed. It looks like a heart, but it looks like something anime. And then there's like, this is the other thing is like, what's her name? I gotta, some of the it's Okoye. Okoye has that weird suit that she wears at the end of the movie that looks like something out of Power Rangers.
Yeah. Didn't they call her like Midnight Angel or something like that?
Yeah, something weird like that. And I think there was 2 of them, right?
I mean, and they made a joke about the name as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was. Whatever.
But you're right. But the thing is, not to spoil another spoiler, the end credits, it says Black Panther will return. And again, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know that I'm necessarily excited for it.
I mean, unless they do something weird with like the multiverse thing and
they won't
retcon some things. I don't know, but
they won't.
I feel like they painted themselves into a corner, and I think this franchise is gone. It's done.
Murdoch, thank you for your 5. Appreciate that. T from Laos says, I don't understand why Ironheart was in Wakanda forever. When setting up Storm in it would have made more sense. I agree with you.
Well, there
but
was a reason why, but
setting up the
Yeah, there's
Disney
a
Plus
narrative
show.
reason why.
Yeah. The Hidden Land says Angela Bassett is way too over the top in this. I guess you've seen it, Hidden Hand. Yes, I don't think I like Angela Bassett in
I liked
Yeah.
her in it actually.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, in theory, I think she could get a Oscar nod for this performance.
I kind of do too. I think she was good enough that, and she, like I said, she was like the emotional core of the movie. So
She
Oh,
was the
and-
gravitas that was missing from Chadwick Boseman.
Hank VP says at Dante and Alan for Rush Hour reboot.
Except
Hey,
I'll be the comic.
I don't think my voice is high enough to pull off a Chris Tucker though.
No. See, that's the point. I'm the Chris Tucker. You're the Jackie Chan.
That's how they'll do it.
Reverse roles.
Yeah.
Hank Hill says you could have had a stuntman in the suit doing an epic fight scene against Namor where he is killed by him and thus establishing the threat of our new villain for the opening scene. Yeah, I agree. Like
he could have been Black Panther in the mask and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it just there's no reason. It's sort of ridiculous. We're gonna get through these comments here and start wrapping it up. But I will say this: this is our biggest show. We don't normally get more than 1,000 people watching the show. So thank you for everyone watching. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. We're nearly at the 57,000 subscribers mark. Alan, where are we at?
We are at.
My nipples look like milk duds.
Sorry about that. What were you saying?
We are 30 away.
30 subscribers away. So please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. And please like this video. We really appreciate it. And, just, I don't know, give us a subscribe.
Oh, wow.
All right, back to comments here. Dan M, off screen equals cheap and lazy. Superheroes don't die of a coof equivalent. They should go out like bosses. I agree. Like the fact that it's like, okay, if you decided you're going to kill a character that you sell in forms of merchandise, posters, pajamas, action figures, you're going to kill that character like in the franchise. This is canon. They're gone. An off-screen death over a disease was a colossally bad choice. And when Ryan Coogler came to the studio with this being the story, that no one at the helm said to him, are you sure you want to do this? Let's think about this. Maybe we take a break. I just think that that using the movie as a way to process Chadwick Boseman's death was a mistake. That's my thought. And
I agree.
there you go. D. Bud Martin says if he died off screen, then they can easily bring him back. He wasn't really dead. Well, they could have also had him so-called killed. How many times does this happen in movies? You think a character's been killed, but they come back. I mean, in James Cameron movies, the villain, gets to die 3-4 times before they're really dead. So Evar
By the way,
James,
we need just 11 more subscribers. And we're
all right. Well, 11 more subscribers.
Yeah. That'll help pay for our jet and our film threat mansion.
I thought Disney paid for that.
Evar Gents for 5 says the whole anime feel to Ironheart is interesting considering its Japanese origins. All right. Okay. Well, we'll see. The series is coming. Disney Plus. Kid 50, who's a member, thank you for that. The filmmakers who made this sounds like they have lost touch with normal behaviors and emotions. I read an article in the Ankler yesterday, actually, where they compared the modern Democratic Party being out of touch with regular voters, working class people, right? Like with Hollywood, that Hollywood is akin to the Democrats. The Democrats and Hollywood has the same problem. They're just out of touch with normal people. So there you go. Brock Samsonite, so they were basically scared to touch the subject of Chadwick's death at all. No, how would you? No, I mean, the character dies in the movie, and there's a tribute to Chadwick Boseman in the movie.
At the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
I mean,
Want
it's all about grief. It's all about Shuri's loss of her brother. That's the thread that runs through this entire movie.
Yeah. Let's see. Back to the comment. Want Biscuit says, so let me get this straight. They made this movie for the only purpose of Boseman's death, yet only addressed it in quick dialogue at the beginning. Makes perfect sense. I mean, is that an accurate description or re-description of what we said?
That's pretty fair.
It's pretty fair, I hate to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I think his death is felt throughout the film because of Shuri's, guilt,
Actions.
yeah, and grief. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty fair.
Amanda Nowicki says, standing on the grave of Chadwick Boseman, bad move, Disney. Patrick Lemire says, someone on YouTube will probably do a decent, deep fake, heroic T'Challa death scene just to make them look inept. Hank Hill says, damn, I was hoping he was going to go out like a champ in some sweet action scene opening. Patrick Lemire, I am cynical, but I think Marvel are low-key glad T'Challa is gone. He was in the way of the MCU. And Chadwick battled stomach cancer for 3 years while starring in several movies and going to children's cancer hospitals until he died. Quietly, how did they honor him? A virus. The Panther died of COVID. Unfortunately, yes. Not the Batman. They should recast these heroes instead of killing them off. They should make them into prestige roles like Bond. Dave T. Geek says, if representation matters like they say it does, then positive black male representation matters the most. I would 100% agree with that. And that's why I feel so that this was not the right way to handle this. Solomon Thornton, the first actor that played Dumbledore, died and they replaced him. Chadwick even stated before his death he wanted Black Panther to be explored and care for the character. And someone says, Darkness Flame Media so they can race swap other characters, but this guy gets to keep them forever according to Marvel movies? I guess. And then R.I.P. Boseman says JTPRX. Well, that's it for our comments. Why don't we go to final remarks here from you guys on what are you doing?
What? I'm not doing anything.
All right, there we go.
By the way, we are four subscribers away from 57,000.
4 subscribers away. Let's just say this. If we can get those subscribers, I have a very special Alan video that we're going to get a look at. A very special Alan.
So you got to do it, guys. You got to do it.
Okay, we're at 3 now. We need 3 more. It's a telethon.
All I can say is this. You know what I love about our reviews?
Holy fucking shit, these reviews are delicious.
Our reviews are delicious. All right, final thoughts. And we'll talk about this more on Friday. We'll get into it because by then, most people who at least want to see the movie will have seen the movie. Final thoughts, Alan.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I walked away disappointed with this movie. It should have been a whole lot better. It had the potential to be a whole lot better. I'm not on the recast bandwagon, and partially I'm still not. But this was such a disappointment to me, and it's there you go. The legacy is over. Thanks, Chris.
I don't know. I just think that everything, and the thing is this, like, I'm like this eternal optimist.
There we go. 57.
Oh yeah, we did it. All right.
Nice.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you to everybody.
Thank you to everybody.
Very nice.
Helping us out. That's awesome. We should celebrate. with another special video.
And
are you ready for this, Alan? I really need you to be ready for this, Alan. Chris says you're ready. Hey, did you hear me? Are you listening?
All right. Let's. Thank you to everybody. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes.
Look. We've been warned that the quote MCU is coming. I think it's I think this is a colossal mistake. I think you certainly want balance. Look, We want strong female characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They already exist in the comics, okay? But they failed to translate at least a lot of these newer characters to the screen, in my opinion. It's my opinion, okay? But
I agree.
to diminish you by building, you don't build the female characters up by diminishing the male characters. And I think that's the argument. Can't we have both? Can't we have both strong female characters and strong male characters? Well, apparently not.
And to be honest, like if I were like, just so that I can end this in my way, I honestly, I didn't hate the film. I didn't love it. I feel like it's very kind of middle of the road for me. Is it worth a second watch? Not for me, not really. I wish. I guess for me, I walk away wishing they would have done something different, and like that's my biggest takeaway. Is I'm disappointed in the fact that Coogler kind of let his grief get the best of him in this movie, and instead of thinking about what's good for the movie, it's more like he was trying to reconcile feelings that he was going through or wrestling with. You know what I mean? I feel bad for the cast because I feel like they believed they were in a good movie, and I think they expect a warm reception, and they probably will get a little bit, but I just think this movie lets everybody down, everybody involved with it, and I don't think people are going to hate this film. I just think they're going in with expectations that aren't going to be met, is what I think.
Yeah. Look, do you have like a number? Well, look, also, aren't you going to do the review that will be on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah. I'm going to write the review
right now.
And it's a hard review to write, man, because I mean, there's a lot I have to say about it, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, this felt more like a memorial than a movie.
Let's look at some of these. Regrettably, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever tries to do so many things that it comes across as threadbare and pallid, less a failure of imagination and more of circumstance, time, and narrative constraints. A mercurial sequel that can't match its predecessor. Might have its heart in the right place, but is in the wrong mindset, in the worst space, at the center of a contrived cinematic universe to mourn on its own terms. Yes, it's trying to process loss and grief, but is a Marvel blockbuster really going to be able to grapple with it effectively? Whether it is or not is debatable, but the fact is it is forced to try. There's another review here. Wakanda Forever winds up feeling hopelessly stalled, covering up an inability to move on by resorting to repetitive, over-familiar action sequences, maudlin emotional beats, and an uninvolving, occasional, incoherent story. These are, I'm just reading the rotten reviews. Yeah. Let's see. Yasser Medina says, it's a sequel that bores me in perpetuity with its abundance of one-dimensional female characters and, most of all, bland action that exposes the anthropological side of Marvel without any sense of wonder. And this is from a Spanish-language film critic. Coogler and his team nearly pull it off, leading to moments of real power and emotion not normally found in superhero films, and yet Marvel's need for a shared universe practically undermines it at every turn. So, I mean, we can go on and on. You can read these. These are the... as it stands, Wakanda Forever feels as lost and forlorn as the Wakandan people, says Mick LaSalle, the San Francisco Chronicle. You can read all of those, but I think that when more reviews come out, I think that the critics that will able to give it some fair criticism, I think you're going to see a lot more negative reviews in the coming days. I think that yours will probably be mixed, Dante.
It's going to be very mixed. I still don't even really know what kind of score I'm going to give it yet. I'm still kind of, I have no idea.
Well, and then C Cantony 28 for 2 says, was Shuri stabbed by a freaking IKEA sword? Yes, it was basically an IKEA sword. Thank you for the 2. I appreciate that. So yeah, I didn't really get into a rant today. a freaking IKEA chair. Yeah, no, no, that moment just annoyed me because it's like, how many times are we going to see this in a movie where someone gets stabbed in the abdomen is just okay, no big deal. But look, my final thoughts are, I think this is among I would put it in the class of like the worst of the Marvel films, which to me includes Captain Marvel, Eternals. I'm sorry it's on that list, mainly because of the high expectations and how this could so easily have been great and a much better tribute to Chadwick Boseman. And I just don't think I don't think people are going to revisit it. And I'm just disappointed. It was weird because I deserve that.
Very nice.
But look. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like now I used to look forward to Marvel movies, and now I dread them. Yeah. No, seriously, it's like, okay, so now all this stuff has to continue in perpetuity forever.
No, the magic's gone, man. Like I think it ended with Endgame. I think we had Camelot, right? And now we're just done. Now we're in the aftermath, right? We're just sitting through shit, basically.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
So Quantumania.
That's in February, and then isn't Guardians
is in May. Yeah, okay, Guardians is in May. Right. And then we'll have Secret Invasion followed by Echo.
Right. Well, let's hope Phase 5 is watchable. Like that's all we can hope for, is it being watchable.
And Pitbull for 2, thank you. I will get back to your DM and or message. Lastly, let's just say we are Film Threat. Follow us on everything. We are at Film Threat on everything. So check that out. You can
follow me at Cancel Dante on social media, Twitter and Instagram.
Follow Dante at Cancel Dante. His new channel is going to drop.
Just to warn you, I can get real offensive. So if you have a thin skin, you probably shouldn't follow me. I kind of just say whatever the fuck I want, and people don't like that. So just be warned.
Well, all I can say is that's part of what I love about you, Dante, is you don't give a fuck.
Not at all.
And I also don't give a fuck. And Alan,
I don't give a flip either.
Oh, I don't give a.
Hey, Alan's a Disney man. He has to watch his mouth.
Alan's definitely a Disney man. Didn't you see?
Oh, man.
Didn't you see this new meme that was created? Like, there we go. There's Alan going after those Disney dollars. Oh my God.
He's the only one who gets
the sad thing is that's anatomically correct, by the way.
All right. Well, that's it for us today. I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to Glanuccio, killing it, producing, graphics, everything, the shorts. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. We will be back Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. We'll be talking more about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Additionally, we're going to have reviews of there are other movies that are opening, by the way. We're going to talk about the finale of Andor, episode 10. Episode 10 just
there's 12 episodes. Yeah. By the way.
Okay, so I don't know. Maybe I don't know if you can come back, Dante, to talk about Andor on Friday. Let me know.
Yeah, I might be able to do that.
We're going to talk about She Said. It's She Said, right?
Yes, She Said.
She Said. We're going to talk about that film, a lot of other movies to discuss, and we just thank you and appreciate you for watching and hanging out with us. So, yeah, any final words, Alan? Oh wait, some more.
We do have a new member, by the way.
Yes, let me get through last. Sean Z Comic Construct for $1.99. Phase, forget about it. Alan, let's get this email done. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, by the way, I did respond to you only a week late, but I responded to your email.
Look, if you email me, I will literally, because I'm a zero inbox guy. I will respond to you like that. Within 24 hours is my rule. 24 hours from getting an email.
So
Okay,
give him your email.
Alan, good luck. And I CC Alan. There was a thing I CC'd you on. You got to respond to that person that emailed us this morning.
Okay.
All right. And C. Katani 28 has become a member, says, been a watcher for a while. Happy to now be a member. Well, thank you for that. Membership comes with its privileges. We've got some giveaways and other stuff coming up. And thank you. Check out our exclusive videos in our members section. And that's it for us. And Alan, what do you want to say as you take us out?
Let's get out of here.